What's up, guys? So I'm sure you've heard before that you make money when you buy, not when you sell. What's up, YouTube? Thanks a lot for joining me again today. My name is Graylan Stewart. If you haven't ever watched my videos before, I'm a real estate entrepreneur. I'm really just an overall real estate investor. So today's video, I'm going to go over the facts that you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. I'm sure you've heard it before, and it's so true, especially in wholesaling real estate, So in order to know how you buy something at the right price, you got to know your ARV. I mean, the ARV ultimately is what gets you paid, okay? So if you get the ARV wrong, everything else that you do will most likely be incorrect, and you probably won't be able to make money on that deal, okay? So how do we do that? So obviously, when people say you make money when you buy, especially in real estate investing and in wholesaling, you got to buy it right, meaning if you don't know the ARV, how are you going to know what to offer, okay? Now the ARV, I've done several different videos on ARV. I even did one, how to find a quick ARV, just a little shorts video, like 10, 15 seconds or so. Really, it's pretty simple. To get the basic ARV quickly, you can just search all the sites like Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow.com, the county assessor. If you just search those sites alone and get what their estimated value of the property is, you average those 4 or 3 or however many you're able to come up with, average those, and that gets you a decent ARV. It at least gets you started. But to really truly get the actual ARV of a property, you got to know the specific, not just the beds and baths and the square footage and potential, the lot size, but the actual neighborhood. And sometimes more than just the neighborhood, sometimes you actually need, in some areas, it's street by street ARVs. Because I know a deal we did recently in Baltimore, Maryland, it was like literally this street ARVs are probably in the 200 to 225 range, but one block up and one block over, those are more like in the 3 to 350 range. And we found that true in some of the areas in Oklahoma City as well. You might have a house worth, 90 grand on this street, but 2 blocks over, or definitely less than half a mile, you might have houses that are $300,000 plus. So it's really important to know what your market is, first of all. That's why it's more difficult to do nationwide. But if you're doing virtual wholesaling, choose 1 or 2 markets. Get to know those markets really, really well, to where your team, your acquisition team especially, knows that particular areas, the neighborhoods, the hot areas, the ghetto areas, the dangerous areas, the areas that are up and coming, being gentrified, all those kind of things. It's important to know to get the true ARV. So it's really, and yes, there's no right or wrong answer like 100%. A lot of it is just doing the research. You actually look up all the comps that are very similar within 200 to 400 square feet of your property, that have the same amount of bedrooms your property has, that have the same amount of bathrooms your property has, a similar square foot lot. If you're looking at properties that are 1 acre lots and yours is just a standard lot, 0.16 acres, obviously that changes the comps. So that's not a true comp that you can use for ARV. So you want to look at very, very similar comps, comparables to your property. You could do that on PropStream. That's a good resource to use. I have a link in the description if you don't have PropStream already. I highly suggest that if you're already doing deals. If you're not doing deals yet, don't bother with the $97 a month, because it's not worth it for you yet. But if you're already doing deals, PropStream is 100% worth it. We use it all day, every day to analyze our deals and acquisitions. We also use it for our list building. So anyways, PropStream is a good resource. The county assessor is a good resource. Not necessarily what their assessed value is, but usually you can find like properties within that same area or neighborhood, to where you can see what the property is actually sold for. And even Zillow. I mean, we use Zillow all day, every day as well. But the most important part is you want to find properties very, very close to what yours are. If you have a 3-bed, 2-bathroom, you don't want to look at 4-bedroom, 2 bathrooms because it's not a like comp. If you've got a 3-2, you don't really want to look at 3-1 because you're probably cutting yourself short on some money potentially. So to really get a true ARV, you want to get the exact same amount of beds and baths for sure. Square footage within 400 plus or minus, either way, within 200, preferably. But if it's not possible, then within 400 square feet, up or down from what your square footage is, and then a similar lot size. If you're looking at 1 acre lots and your house is on a 0.16 acres, that's less than a quarter of an acre, so it's not similar. But if it's 0.16 and yours is the other ones that you're looking at is 0.25, a quarter, that's pretty close where you're probably fine there. So that's the most important thing. Once you find a handful of those properties, and you do want at least three or four similar properties to actually get a true ARV. So once you find 3 or 4 of those, then at that time you can take those sales prices per square foot if you want, or just take the total sale because you know that they're like properties. So let's just say $100,000 for this house. This one went for 105. This one for 95, and this one went for 105. So your average on that one is probably, you add those 4 up and divide it. Let's just say it's $100,000. So that's your ARV. So the ARV sets the tone and gets you started for everything else. Okay. So let's say the ARV is $100,000, and now through your due diligence and your question asking, when you're talking to the seller, you find out and you feel pretty good that there's maybe $20,000 worth of repairs. Okay, so the ARV gets you paid because now you know for sure that that's worth $100,000. Now you know that there's 20,000 repairs, and you know that the end buyer in today's market, they might want to be all in at 80% or so, different in different areas. Some areas are still at 70%, but some of them are buying up to 95% we've seen. But let's just say for easy math that it's 80,000. So you've got your $100,000 ARV. Multiply that by 0.8. So an investor, I did that wrong, 100,000 times 0.8. So an investor needs to be all in at $80,000, okay? So that means that after repairs, after paying your fee, after closing, after everything, they want to be all in at $80,000, okay? So you got to subtract the $20,000 that they have to spend on repairs. That brings you down to $60,000. And let's say you want to make $10,000 spread on the deal for your wholesale fee. So that brings you down to $50,000, okay? So $50,000 is your max that you can offer on that property, meaning you want to start lower than that. You want to try to get it at maybe 40, maybe come up to 45, and maybe worst case scenario, you get the deal locked up for $50,000. But you got paid on the purchase because you got the ARV correct to where you knew where an investor needed to be, to where you knew what repairs there were, and you knew what you wanted to make. Therefore, you knew your maximum allowable offer, your MAO, which I've done videos on that as well. And in this case, it's $50,000. So you want to try to get that deal for 40. Maybe you can make $20,000 in this deal. Maybe you settle on 45 and you make a $45,000 or a $15,000 spread. Nevertheless, even let's just say that you did lock it up for 50 at your max, okay? And now you know that you have built-in $20,000 of repairs. You got built-in $10,000 of your assignment fee. So you're trying to sell the deal for 60 because you got it for 50, right? And you want to make 10. But don't put it out there at 60. Don't cut yourself short. Try for 65 at first. Maybe they can get repairs done a little less. So maybe you can make $15,000 on that deal. Worst case scenario, you make 10. It's kind of how we do it. So you make your money on the purchase, not on the sale, because if you didn't get the ARV right to begin with, you wouldn't have your MAO correct. Therefore, you probably wouldn't make money or not as much. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, hopefully it made sense. If it didn't, please drop me a comment. I'd love to explain it deeper to you. I can show this step by step, on a shared computer screen or something as well. But please like, comment, share, and hit me up in the comments if you got questions or comments that you just want to share with me, and I'd be glad to respond to you. But thanks for watching, and I appreciate you. See you in the next video.